What's up everybody, Cynda here, and welcome back to another video. So, how's everybody doing?
What happened?
You've come down with a case of Sonic Mania.
What's that?
You don't remember the Sonic Mania commercials? By the Mania, for the Mania?
Okay, so what are the symptoms?
Well, there's being obsessed with Sonic games and making scripted, edited review videos about Sonic games.
Oh, okay, good. I got a little worried there.
What, you don't like Sonic?
No, then I made a new video in under a month.
My personal history with Sonic is somewhat limited, as I grew up a Nintendo kid during the late GameCube, early Wii era, and the console wars, well, they didn't really exist between Nintendo and Sega anymore, and to be honest, I don't really know why Sonic didn't really stick with me throughout the years. I knew about the series through the Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games games, but the only real Sonic games I had were the downloadable Nintendo Channel demo of Sonic Colors for the Nintendo DS and Sonic Colors on the Wii. Then, 2017 hit. Sonic Mania released to insane critical acclaim. People said that this was Sonic's big return to glory after some iffy releases. Although in my opinion, Generations is fantastic, but whatever. I noticed this critical acclaim, and I've always wanted to look into the series. So that winter, I picked up a Switch for Christmas and a few eShop cards and got to playing Sonic Mania. Now, when just opening up the game, it definitely feels like a passion project. I mean, come on, just look at that opening animation. And the menus look so nice, with a sort of Genesis mixed with modern style. And the opening cutscene really sets the scene for the whole game. The insanely vibrant colors look so good. But basically, there's this Infinity Stone kind of thing called the Phantom Ruby. Eggman, wait, is it Robotnik? Since it's a classic game? I don't really know. The bad guy swipes the ruby for himself and launches our protagonist into an alternate dimension. And now that we've made it to the gameplay, oh my gosh, this game looks good. I absolutely adore when games use the old styles of pixel art and upgrade it to use the full power of the modern hardware. Games like Celeste and Undertale do this exceedingly well, and Sonic Mania is no exception. Basically every animation in this game is buttery smooth, and since displaying these somewhat old-school graphics, it means that the game can display at 1080p, resulting in razor-sharp pixels on the Switch version in docked mode. But that's not even the max. The other modern consoles can crank Sonic Mania all the way up to 4K. Plus, it runs at a silky smooth 60fps, so Mania plays just as good as it looks. When it comes to Mania's general gameplay design, it feels kind of like a more linear, less confusing Sonic CD. A lot of people compare it to Sonic 3, but since I haven't played Sonic 3 yet, I kinda have to wing it here. But by just playing through the game, it's clear what the designers were trying to do. It feels like they were trying to make a game that combines the exploratory nature of CD with the linearity and speed of Sonic 2. And while that sounds like a fantastic blend of the Genesis CD classics, some zones can feel somewhat claustrophobic and not as focused as I would like. There's a lot of seemingly random set pieces and weird enemy and obstacle placements. And while a lot of these problems specifically can be avoided with repeat playthroughs and learning the levels, why? Why do I have to play this game multiple times to truly experience it at its full potential? It's an outdated, old-school design. Oh wait, that's what they were going for, isn't it? Sonic Mania is clearly a game for the classic fans that have been playing for a long time, and while it accomplishes that extremely well, it can feel kind of unfair for a newer fan like myself. But if I'm being honest, the game is not all bad gameplay-wise. There are a lot of good levels in this game. Hydrocity, Press Garden, Chemical Plant, Green Hill, all fantastic levels. But the worst levels like Flying Battery and Titanic Monarch can completely destroy the game's pacing, and can take quite a bit of time and patience to get through. And unfortunately, I feel like these few stages bring down a potentially legendary experience. The bosses, like the level design, are a pretty huge hit or miss. Sometimes you get a Puyo Puyo inspired boss fight that is the best in the game, or you get an Oil Ocean Act 2 boss that grinded multiple playthroughs to a halt and is one of the most unfair feeling bosses I've ever encountered. But Sonic bosses feel very similar to Mario's bosses to me. They're both more just kind of there rather than expanding upon platforming design and gameplay ideas throughout the levels. There's for sure some visual theming in Mania's bosses. I mean, the Firefly guy in Stardust Speedway makes sense due to there being fireflies throughout the level, but most of these bosses just don't really fit the gameplay of Sonic. Having Sonic stuck in one room, just kind of jumping around, acting a weak point, etc. Studiopolis and Stardust Speedway Act 2 do fix this by having a boss that takes place on a sort of racetrack while fighting them. In conclusion, the bosses feel somewhat tacked on in a few scenarios, and this could easily be fixed in a potential sequel by only relegating bosses to Act 2 of each zone. But even with some iffy design choices, there are quite a few things to come across throughout the levels. Monitors hold items that the protagonist can collect. Shields give an extra hit, losing it when you get hit. But there are 4 different types of shields. Normal shields only provide the extra hit point. Fire shields make Sonic resistant to fire, as well as allowing him to dash forwards when the jump button is hit. The bubble shield provides resistance to drowning, as well as allowing Sonic to use a physics-based bubble jump move. And my favorite, the electric shield. This one is a ton of fun because it gives Sonic a double jump, as well as being able to attract rings. There are even more power-ups to find in the form of speed shoes, which basically allows Sonic to run at near light speed. And due to this Sonic level design not being very speed-friendly like Sonic 2, it can sometimes lead to chaos. You can also gain invincibility, which works like your traditional invincibility power-up. Special stages also come back. Now there are 2 different varieties. One can be accessed after collecting a certain amount of rings and jumping into the stars above a checkpoint once you pass it, and it's blue spheres from Sonic 3, which can be fun, but aren't really. Winning these unlocks extras, things like being able to use abilities from throughout Sonic's history in the no save mode, things like the Super Peel Out from CD and the Insta Shield from Sonic 3. The other special stage can be accessed using these big rings, like in Sonic 3. These warp you to a 3D CD-esque special stage where you chase after a UFO that holds a Chaos Emerald. And to be honest, these are fantastic. Although some still hold the frustrating difficulty of the special stages from older games, but really that's kind of the point. Overall, a pretty solid arrangement of special stages and power-ups. Bringing back the elemental shields from Sonic 3 was a really great choice in my opinion. This game's soundtrack is also really great. Composers T-Lopes and Hyper Potions did a legendary job with this game's soundtrack, so much so that I find myself actively listening to Mania's music just for fun. Basically every song in this game is good, with some highlights being Press Guard in Act 1 and 2, Hydrocity, Stardust Speedway, Chemical Plant, Flying Battery, etc. So now we're nearing the end of the game. We've collected all the power-ups, heard most of the music, gone through all the stages. Now it's time to face off against Eggman. So after a grueling trek through Titanic Monarch, which is probably my least favorite stage, Sonic and Co. finally make it to Eggman. And this fight is agony. It's just not a very fun final boss. But if you've collected all the Chaos Emeralds, there's a second phase that has Sonic and Co. battling against both Eggman and one of the hard-boiled heavies for possession of the Phantom Ruby. And this fight is actually a lot of fun. Having to pilot Sonic around to pick up rings so you don't lose your super form is pretty fun. And once Sonic finally defeats the final boss, the game is over. Except it's not! Sonic Mania has DLC, which also got a physical release. Sonic Mania Plus adds a respectable amount of content in the form of Encore Mode, and 2 new playable characters. Encore Mode is very similar to the main game, but each level has a palette swap. Lives also work differently, where instead of extra lives, you gain extra characters, and if you lose a life, you respawn as a different character. This mode also adds monitors that swap characters randomly. It adds a level of strategy on which characters you try to get and use in specific situations. Sonic has a drop dash that allows him to speed up quickly, Tails can fly using his dual tails, Knuckles can glide and climb, Mighty can use a drill stomp and bounce off of spikes, and Ray can glide as well, but his flight has much more maneuverability in the air. And all of these characters are fun to use as well. Each of their abilities feels balanced, except maybe Tails and Ray, since they can fly. But I found myself wishing that Encore Mode did more to enhance the experience. Like, why is Angel Island the only new level in Encore? It only has 1 act as well. Plus, this was a great opportunity to have a much more difficult mode, which would allow for the main game to be a touch easier and provide maximum enjoyment to both new and old fans. So while it may have sounded like I hated this game, it really isn't that bad. It's extremely clear why so many people like this game so much. It goes back to that traditional Sonic gameplay, and that's why I've critiqued this game like a real Sonic game. This game was built by fans, and even if there are a few bumps in the road, the fact that the game is as good as it really is impressive. And Mania did get me into the Sonic series, even if I don't think it's perfect. And frankly, that gets me even more excited for a potential sequel down the line.
Wow, Doc, I feel great. Making that video really did wonders.
That's wonderful, but we're going to keep you here one more night just to make sure everything's good to go. You should be out of here by tomorrow.
Wait,
Yeah, what is it?
there was one more Sonic game released in 2017.
Uh-huh. Ah!